is up, everyone? It's Ben Falcon's Media Corner back again with a brand new movie review for today. This is going to be my review on a film that has just recently turned 30 years old. And I feel like I should give you guys my personal thoughts on this movie, since this movie has just officially turned 30 years old. So this is going to be my review on this movie that was released back in 1992, and also a video of me celebrating its 30 years. Since it was first released. So today's review is going to be my review on the 1992 revisionist Western film, and that movie is Unforgiven. This was produced, directed, and stars Clint Eastwood, which for Clint Eastwood's role in this movie, that he plays a retired gunfighter named William Money, who he went through a tragedy involving his wife, who has just since passed, and he's no longer a gunfighter. We see him that he lives on a farm. He's trying to run a successful pig farm, but he has financial problems and he's struggling to take care of his two children. However, he gets offer that involves money, and which is basically to find the wanted man who was responsible for the death of his wife. So of course William agrees the offer to do the job, and he recruits an old friend of his who's also retired, and he's also a gunfighter, named Ned Logan, played by Morgan Freeman. And so we see these two characters doing the job, and hopefully they can get the reward they get. So that's pretty much the story of Unforgiven. Now, when it comes to Clint Eastwood movies, usually for the most recent ones that we've got in recent years, the ones I have seen in recent years, most of them have been either pretty good hits for me, and there have been a few misses under my belt for like the most recent ones that some people will say that they're not his best ones. But when I started watching a few Clint Eastwood movies, like the most recent ones, when I heard that he directed more films than the ones I have seen, I was like, I need to give those other movies that he's done before in the past a watch, because I'm a big fan of Clint Eastwood. Like ever since I started seeing him in movies as an actor and director, for like the most recent films he's done, again, I think I can definitely agree with everyone that he's the biggest legend in Hollywood ever. He's one of my favorite legendary actors on the planet. And for his filmography as a director, I wanted to see like his most like iconic films that he has made as a director, like this movie, Million Dollar Baby, Mystic River, and a few other movies that he's well known for directing behind the camera. And for this movie, I did a bit of research about this movie, since I felt this is considered one of Clint Eastwood's best films as a director. And this film, since it was first released, it was well received by audiences as well as with critics. And this film won 4 Academy Awards. It won for Best Director for Clint Eastwood, Best Film Editing, Best Supporting Actor for Gene Hackman, and the biggest of them all, Best Picture. And I was like, I need to give this movie a watch, since I like Clint Eastwood movies. And for Western films, I haven't really seen every single Western film. I've seen like the most recent ones we've gotten, like Django Unchained, The Hateful Eight, The Revenant, and all that, which I really love those movies. Well, but Django Unchained is an awesome movie. The Hateful Eight was great, but it's not Tarantino's best film. And The Revenant I thought was freaking awesome. So for this Clint Eastwood Western film, this was actually the very first Western film I was introduced for Clint Eastwood Western films. I haven't seen his most famous Western role, which is of course in the Man with No Name trilogy. But I need to get those movies to watch sometimes, since my granddad told me, since I started getting my film days, when I started like learning more about Western films, my granddad told me about that iconic film series, as well as for other like iconic Western films and all that. And I was like, I need to get those movies to watch. So I did manage to pick up my own copy of this movie when I was out one day, and I have watched it ever since. I've watched it the first time I watched this film was actually during lockdown, and last year I watched it again, and I even rewatched this again this year. So I've seen this movie technically 3 times, and after seeing this movie 3 times, I can definitely say that this film definitely deserved all those 4 awards, because this movie is an absolute masterpiece. I absolutely loved Unforgiven. This is definitely my favorite movie that Clint Eastwood has directed, and so far one of my favorite Westerns of all time. For Clint Eastwood's acting performance in this movie, he definitely gives an incredible performance here in this movie as William Money. And well, I haven't seen his other Western films, the Man with No Name trilogy, or any of his other Western films, but for this Western masterpiece, I can definitely say he gives an incredible performance in this movie as William Money. And I love the character development for William Money. throughout this whole film. When we were first introduced to this character for what he does in the film, when we see him live a normal life, and how he progresses on, from when he does accept the offer, when like he does accept the job that he's been offered to do, and then towards the final act of the film, which I really dug, the last act of the film, which was really tense. And for what Clint Eastwood was given in this film, he absolutely nailed it here. And again, his acting is absolutely incredible. And Morgan Freeman was amazing too in the movie as Ned Logan, and I love the chemistry between him and Clint Eastwood throughout this movie when we see them doing the job they're being offered to do. And Gene Hackman, he's absolutely phenomenal in this movie as Little Bill. And I can definitely say, for him winning the Best Supporting Actor award, I can definitely say he definitely deserved the award because, again, he's absolutely mesmerizing in this film. And this is definitely one of Hackman's best performances of his career, of his acting career. Well, I'll still say The French Connection still is his best performance, like #1 best performance. But here, in Unforgiven, he's mesmerizing as Little Bill. And Richard Harris, too, in the film, was absolutely terrific in this movie. And Richard Harris, may he rest in peace. Such a great actor he was, and it's really sad that he passed, but here he's absolutely terrific in this movie, and everyone else were also great. But the best performances I can ever say are Eastwood and Hackman in this movie. And for Eastwood's direction, it's a pretty dark, gritty film, and he knows how to direct like these kind of films. Like for this film, like I said, it's pretty dark and it's pretty gritty and does have some tense moments. He knows how to direct scenes like that, because there are some scenes that I do said, like in the dark and all that, it's very well directed. It's incredibly well directed, and it's due to the cinematography, which the cinematography is absolutely incredible. Like even like for scenes for the scenes that are pretty dark, and then the scenes that's not in the dark and all that, it's very well made. It's very well shot, and even for the opening shot in the film, I thought it was beautiful. It was beautifully well shot, and then after that, when it gets to the moments where that does have tense moments and very dark, gritty moments, I thought were absolutely well shot. And for Eastwood's directing skills and talent, he absolutely knows how to direct those scenes very well. And for the action in this film, there's a bit of gunplay, even though there's not a whole amount of gunplay in this film. There's still a good amount of gunplay in this film, and for Clint Eastwood directing scenes like that, he knows how to direct some gunplay scenes very well. It's very well handled for its direction. It's really well edited too, since this film won the best editing, and I could never say the editing's great. And the themes in this film involves like growing older and wiser, I thought worked really well for a Western film like this. Since the character for William Money, he's like aging in the film, and for the whole theme in this film worked really well for a Western film like this one. And in all honesty, I've got no nitpick to pick out with this film, other than this film has definitely aged really well here. And for this movie that has won like those 4 Academy Awards, I can definitely say this film still deserves those awards, because again, this film is an absolute masterpiece. It's definitely one of Clint Eastwood's best directed films. I can still say is my #1 favorite Clint Eastwood film he's done as a director. And if you're a fan of Western films, or you're a fan of Clint Eastwood or Morgan Freeman, Gene Hackman, or Richard Harris, or anything like that, you'll definitely have an incredible time watching this film. Since I first watched it, I was blown away with everything from what this film delivered to me through its acting performances, the directing talent, the story, the editing, and the themes and everything like that. I could still say this is definitely one of the best Westerns out there. And again, for the reasons I can recommend this film, definitely check out Unforgiven. It still is an absolute masterpiece. I'm going to give Unforgiven 5 out of 5. 100% absolutely deserves this score, and I can still say it still holds up really well since it was first released back in '92, and I can easily say that it's definitely one of the best Western movies ever made. And for my personal standards, I can even say this is one of my favorite Western movies of all time, alongside others that I really love like Django Unchained and The Revenant. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching for my movie review on Unforgiven, and let me know what you think of this movie if you have seen this before, or if you've just recently watched this film for the very first time. Do you absolutely adore this movie, or was this not really your cup of tea? So thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for more reviews, and as always, this is Ben Falcon's Media Corner signing off.